Today, we've got Smileback and we've got Rory from Smileback. He's going to be showing us the Smileback platform, explaining to us what it actually is, and hopefully actually showing us the platform and how other MSPs are using the service. So Rory, welcome along. Great to have you here. First, I don't know if you can give us just a quick overview actually what Smileback is and kind of what problem you solve for MSPs.
Yeah, so we are basically provide a customer feedback system, really. So we have a platform that integrates with your PSA, makes it really easy for your customers to give you feedback and then for you to both like assess it and learn from it and then actually leverage it and take action on it so you can see or get the actual results you're looking for in your business.
Excellent. Okay. And who do you find that kind of is looking for your software at the moment? Like what part in someone's business are they there? What part as a company? When are they actually looking for your software?
I think it's kind of the minute you have a few customers and a few people on your team. We even have one-man shops, but really when you're getting to a size where you're losing touch with your customers and having an automated way to be able to get feedback in the moment. So in the minute when there's an issue or for them to kind of validate like, oh yeah, that ticket experience was really good, then Smileback is useful. We have customers ranging from really small teams, like 1 or 2 or 3 people, all the way up to several hundred actual technicians. So yeah, there's a wide array. I think anybody who has customers and wants to keep them happy and then is looking to use feedback with their customers internally to improve and as well as for getting new customers, then they can get value out of it.
Excellent. So is the platform itself, is it a standalone product or does it integrate into what MSPs are already using? Say, for example, if they're using, Connectwise as their Helpdesk or Datto AutoTask is like their, the platform of choice. Does it integrate with those platforms? Yeah.
Yeah. So we do have to integrate with your Helpdesk platform. That's how we get all the useful information to get you the real value. So the current integrations we have right now are with Connectwise Manage, AutoTask, as well as Kaseya BMS. And then we also have integrations with like Zendesk and Freshdesk for the MSPs that are starting out and kind of using those platforms.
Okay. Is there any other ones in the works that you're looking at all or?
We are pretty soon releasing an integration with HaloPSA,
okay.
And that's the only one I know that's kind of on the horizon right now. But yeah, we plan to introduce more integrations over time.
Okay, and I guess the question, come back to the question: can it be used as a standalone product, or do you need to have the integration?
No, you have to have the integration. Yeah, so it's not something you can do without a PSA.
I told you I was going to ask you really dumb questions here, Rory. So
that's perfect.
That's just the kind of things that I'm, there may be simple questions, but basic ones. But I guess getting these things right more than anything else to kind of go forward with this. So, do you want to maybe just give us a little bit of a product overview of this?
Yeah,
a little bit of a demo here.
Yeah, I just shared my screen. You should see survey preview here with smiley faces. Yeah. So I think as a bit of background, so Smileback is a product that came out of the MSP world. So our original founders had been running MSPs, and we're looking for opportunities to build software originally just for Connectwise Managed, because that was kind of the community they came from, that would help them in their business. And one gap they had was getting customer feedback. And I think anybody who's ever been a customer of anything has gotten lots of surveys. I'm sure a lot of you don't really engage with them. They ask loads of questions. They're just designed from the perspective of everything the company wants to know and the marketing team and all these questions. And that, it's only going to take 20 minutes.
It can be a real nightmare. I know, like I started doing a survey. I'm like, why not help the company out by doing the survey? But then I go into I fill all the questions and I get to the bottom of the form and it's like, no, go to page 2. And I was like, oh no, I can't be bothered.
You just exit out and carry on. So so the concept was, how do we simplify this and create a survey that people actually engage with so that you get enough meaningful data to actually know what you're doing is good or not? So that's where this original idea came from. We've been around for a little over 5 years now. And yeah, we took off on Connectwise and then over time have kind of been expanding and getting it. But we're very much focused on the MSP segment. I think it's kind of the business we understand. And you'll see that every feature we build and plan to build is very much oriented around like how would an MSP use it? How would different teams at MSP use it? Okay. This is how the survey looks. It depends on what platform you're using, but in general, the integration is like, when a ticket's reached, it's like the end of its life cycle. So like it's completed or it's closed out. You'll put the smiley faces in there, and that will trigger automatically. And then your customers will be able to, with just a click of a button, rate the experience. I think, usually if they're really happy, they'll click that green face, maybe say, yeah, these guys are awesome. If they're upset or it's like unresolved or they just had issues that was really frustrating for them, they can click the red face and tell you about it. Or even with kind of the neutrals, that somewhere in between where somebody's like, it wasn't the greatest experience. I'm kind of upset about some things. I don't want to like totally bash them, but I'll at least give a neutral to indicate that like it could have been better. So yeah.
I love that concept. That reminds me of when you go through the security scanners in an airport and you get like the same options. So yeah, I like that simplified concept you've got there.
Yeah, the idea has gotten really popular now where, you see it at the airports, you see it in hotels, like even in bathrooms where it's like, rate the cleanliness. So I think the simplicity of like clicking a face, one button gives you a good amount of feedback. Say somebody had a bad experience and they're upset. They click that face and they're taken to this comment capture page. A lot of things in Smileback are branded. So this would be your own MSP's logo here.
Okay.
And what's important to note is we very much believe in simplicity. So like all they have to do is click. They can drop off at this point. They're not forced to click submit. They're not forced to leave a comment. We keep it easy for them so that you collect that data and you can see somebody was upset and then carry on. But if people do want to give you more insight, they will. And a lot of people do leave comments to tell you what was frustrating, how you can improve, or more often than not, feedback's positive. So they're just telling you what's great or why they really loved how quick it was or how professional everybody was.
Okay.
And then if it's a positive response, that's when marketing features can be triggered. So when we kind of think about the way we think about feedback is you collect, then you assess, and then take action. And this is way of like helping your customers take action for you, where they can give you permission to use the comment in your public marketing. And this now can be published on a website widget. So using it as social proof, putting it on your website. We find for a lot of MSPs, actually getting more Google reviews can be a big differentiator because, our prospective customers come on. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate, like how are you different than the competitor? And if they see a bunch of Google reviews that are good, that can help you. It can also help with like SEO and things like that.
It certainly does make you stand out in Google. I mean, I've noted this myself where the reviews might not give you the rank in Google, but if you do have the reviews and you're on that first page, and if you've got nice 5-star reviews or just a lot of reviews, then it does give a kind of a solid sort of trustworthy feeling to your business if it's perceived with new eyes. So I love that feature that you've got there.
Yeah, and then I mean that's just kind of the collection piece, like getting feedback. When it comes to assessing, I think the idea here is just like how easy is it for you to see how you're doing at different levels? So there's like the overall kind of looking from the clouds view, what's going on, and then segmenting further. The dashboard we have built is very much meant for that high level view. So you're looking at like what's your total score. Most MSPs are in the 80 to 100 range. A lot of the people we work with over time get into the 90s or even high 90s.
Oh, wow.
So it's something that you can work on over time. It's good. It's okay to get bad feedback, negative feedback.
Yeah, that always helps. It helps you improve, doesn't it? So yeah,
you learn a lot more from the bad experiences and negative responses often than when just people are saying, nope, that was great. And then what's forgot to mention before is we have a 42% average response rate. So that means 42% of your customers who open an email and see a face are likely to click it. So you should be looking at getting a lot more feedback, especially if you don't really have something formal in place, or definitely a lot of people using just kind of the out of the box built-in surveys. They're just designed poorly or are just not as engaging for the customer. So we could definitely usually get you a higher level of responses. And there's more to it than just the survey design. We really coach our customers on all the elements of keeping your customers engaged and responding to feedback and actually implementing it so that everybody recognizes like, oh, if I do respond, somebody's going to see it, people are going to learn from it, and action's going to be taken, and therefore I'm more likely to respond when things are good and especially when things are bad. Yeah.
I guess one of the questions I've got with these it's potentially something in the mind of the owners and service desk managers. Can you look at like an engineer's performance on this?
Yeah, so that's
all down to that type of granularity.
Yeah. So this is how when you want to segment further, it's really easy. So If you did want to use it for like performance related, you can just pull up the tech, pull up the time period, and see what their individual score is, and be able to pull up feedback for them. So I think it's good to dig down. It can be good for performance, and especially as MSPs grow, and I know a lot of people over time kind of reach a stage and then they start adding on more and more technicians. It sometimes is hard to tell where somebody's can improve, or if customers are having issues, or maybe you hear about problems but you don't know. So this really makes it easy to be like,
where the gaps
hey, here's all the things you did great, and this is what we're going to work on. And then I know people even tie these towards like, hey, if you hit a certain score over the quarter, we can bonus you out to try to like the fact that you're measuring feedback helps influence the culture, I think, first and foremost, where it's like people care about customer service, knowing that they'll get rated on it. And also it's not just like as a method of measuring them, you know, and sort of control. It's also like, it's nice when people get like a bunch of green smiley faces. Like even our internal support team at Smileback like loves it when we get positive feedback and they say, oh, this person was amazing. Like everybody loves that. And then, you know, when it is negative, we don't, you know, you don't drill into the person like, what'd you do wrong? The whole team kind of gets involved and says like, okay, what's this? What can we learn from it? What can we do if it's process or just like style or whatever, to try to keep that problem from coming up again. And the same level of drilling down is the same if like you're going to go talk with a particular client company. And I can show you in a minute how you can even produce reports within Smileback specifically for clients, what people use in like their business reviews. And yeah, I think this is the level of detail we're grabbing. So like what the ticket was, what board it was on, or for certain pieces like the issue type, who gave the review, what company they're working at, and then who on your team's working the ticket. So that's what we're pulling automatically just through API whenever somebody gives a review. It's also why we're not a standalone product, because we want to be able to grab this information. So we find a lot of the value is when you can then look at this or report on like, you know, is it a particular issue with the company? Is it with somebody on my team? Or if you added tags like, you know, is there a trend of something going on that we just need to track? And then we could say like, hey, you know, this issue that we're not investing any money in, whatever the problem is, has now dropped our CSAT so tremendously that you can make a good business case for why you should improve a certain area.
Do you find that, I'm looking from maybe an account management perspective, that these reports are potentially being generated as part of a quarterly business review, and going through the report together with the client? Is that something that you see being used for?
Exactly. So this is we built the client reports just for that. And the idea is you just pick the period of time, and then you pick a client, and then it'll generate a report that has all the feedback that came in over that period of time.
You see exactly what's happened and the areas that maybe need a little bit of focus. Okay.
Yeah.
Love
Let
it.
me go. My demo bar is being slow today, but yeah, I could pull that up. But yeah. So this report will basically just pull up all the feedback that came in over that time for that client, good or bad. You throw your logo on the top right. And I know a lot of people use it for, often when you go in these conversations, there can sometimes be like a recency bias where like your main contact is upset about an issue that week. And then it's just like your service is terrible. And then you kind of have this as evidence to defend like, hey, well, you know, what's the, like, look at all the positive responses that came in. Look at all happy everybody
they're outweighed by these tiny few. Yeah. I can also see it as a sales opportunity as well, because those negative ones that come in, it's potentially not always, the service delivery fault. It's potentially something on the client side that, they maybe needed more investment in certain areas.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it'll illuminate that. And I think feedback is just one piece of the business review, but it is a really powerful piece to bring in and frame the conversation. And I think one thing interesting as well is automation. So the idea here, I think, is there's twofold. One is like, when we integrate with platforms, we like to have a very deep integration. So it's like, how do we also push all of this feedback data back into your help desk so that you can see things on a ticket level, you have it live within, say, Connectwise or AutoTask or Kaseya, so that your technicians don't necessarily have to have a go into the Smileback silo to see everything. So everything can still live and work within your PSA. So we'll do things like, attaching it as a note. I think I have the Connectwise demo right now. But making it like an internal note or resolution note, submitting the survey response usually. So we'll kind of piggyback on whatever the built-in system is, but with, the the high engagement that Smileback gets. But what's really powerful here is actually, I think, more so responding to feedback in the moment. So particularly negative feedback. You say like, it's good to give your customers a voice. It's really bad to then ignore it when they say there's an issue. So we recommend dealing with negative feedback as quickly as possible. Getting on the phone, talking to them. We always like a really good quote I heard recently was like, the customer is always right about how they feel. If somebody gives you a negative response, get on the phone and figure out like what is driving why they feel that way, and then take what you can to fix the problem and see if needed what you need to fix on your side or what went wrong. But it's always good to engage and be like, hey, this is terrible that you had a bad experience. Let me hear you out. And to do that, you can do things like a series of email notifications, new tickets, or depending on the integration, like what a lot of people in Connectwise will do is have a special status that's triggered by a negative response and have workflows triggered. So it is the idea of being kind of process oriented and having this plug into your day to day so that if a bad response comes in, you're not responding a month later. You have your service manager responding that day and trying to resolve the issue and turn it around.
Excellent. I'm going to ask potentially difficult question of you here, Rory. So there's people that really like the look of Smileback, and you probably get in these demos quite a lot. There's type of questions that I maybe haven't asked you, but what are the main things when someone's coming and looking at Smileback that's maybe on the top of their mind, and questions that they've got for you, questions that have maybe not answered here today?
So I mean, most of the people who come into it have like the main pain is just they don't have enough feedback, or the system isn't working well. So a lot of our job is educating on like, okay, but like, have you thought about all the different ways you can actually really use feedback? Like, we'll help you fix the problem and get you a lot of responses. But it's like, really, how are you going to leverage this in your business? There's no point in investing in software if you're just going to collect a bunch of feedback and then like a bunch of vanity metrics basically, and then not do anything with it. And I think, people are usually curious a lot about how they can really integrate it into their process, because everybody has their own individual. They have their own flavor. So like, how does it work with their ticket setup? How can you limit it to go to the right people? Like those are things that we tend to work with people on. I think one thing that's important actually is Net Promoter Score. So that's something that everybody has heard about. Some people really know they need it or want it. A lot of people don't really know what it is. They come and they're like, nope, just need CSAT. And then we kind of have to explain like, yep, like start with CSAT. So the smiley faces at the close of every ticket. But then we recommend introducing Net Promoter Score over time. I can, so like this is responses you'll get for MPS. I'll show you the slides because it's a little faster, but the kind of the concept we give with people when it's like, well, why do I need NPS if I'm doing I'm measuring on tickets? Well, it's like a CSAT is very transactional. It's, somebody has an issue and then they go through that experience and then you ask them to rate it. What you can miss is just how they or another contact that's maybe not even putting in a lot of tickets feels about the overall service. And this is like beyond, did you handle my problem, to like, are you a partner in my business? And the analogy we use is like, say you go out, you're like married and you go out on a date night on Friday night. CSAT is like, hey, how was dinner? NPS is how happy are you in this relationship? So it's a different scope of question. And I think everybody's seen these before. Really, the idea of NPS is to measure how somebody feels about the relationship. So we give it on a scale of 0 to 10, just following the methodology where it's like people higher up on the scale are promoters. These, 7, 8s are passives, and the 6 and below are detractors. These are people that are very likely actually to leave. It's a good indicator of future retention. And this is how the survey looks. And the idea here is it has nothing to do with tickets, really. You deploy these on a campaign basis. We recommend quarterly campaigns with your entire customer base. You can limit it, say, to decision makers or have different campaigns for different types of people as you become more sophisticated. But putting this out there and then seeing how people respond. And a lot of value is seen is like if you're an important client or somebody at an important client company routinely gives you really high scores, say a 9 and 10, and then gives you a 4, becomes a detractor. That's an indicator that something went wrong in like that higher level of the relationship, and that you should definitely get involved and see what the issue is and
Yeah. Okay. I love it. So this is almost like a prediction tool on retention, really, within your MSP, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very, very good indicator of
Is
retention.
it? And you're saying someone, between 0 to 4 is likely to leave.
0 to 6, actually.
0 to 6.
They are
Okay.
detractors. Yes, these are people that would not recommend you and are generally they're seeing a disconnect. And the thing with MPS is it can be a lot of issues. With CSAT, it's usually often
Yeah.
it comes down to like how quickly do they respond? Did they actually handle the issue? Do they actually like working with them? With MPS, it could be a wide variety of things. It could be
Yeah.
you're too
So that,
expensive, or your competitors are luring me away, or it's just, you take care of this part of my business, but I really need somebody that's going to like make me feel comfortable
okay.
with all the security and things going on in the world, and you're not doing that.
So I can see why that's extremely valuable then, because we all know how easy it is to keep a client, but we know how difficult it is to get a new one. So that's of
Yeah,
that's of massive value I can see there.
yeah,
Excellent. Okay, I've only got a couple more minutes left here, Rory. I don't want to keep
yeah.
everyone too long. How does your pricing model work?
Pricing is actually, yeah, pretty straightforward. We price based off of your team size. So if you're
Okay.
smaller, it's more affordable. As you get bigger, it's still affordable, but costs more as you can generally afford more. We have monthly or annual billing. It's always cheaper to pay annually, commit for the year. But if you pay monthly, there's no commitments. And yeah, so we pay what we call agents, just to have more of a broader term. In reality, it's technicians working service tickets. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about all the other people on your Connectwise or whatever. And yeah, if you're in the starter tier, say you have 1 up to 5 people on your team working tickets, it'll be $99 US dollars per month. And then yeah, as you grow, then you can scale. So it could be an extra $40 if you're 6 to 10 range, and this is the total cost for your team. So you're not paying per agent. This is what you pay for Smileback every single month, and then if you pay annually, then it's a bit cheaper.
Excellent. So yeah, this is an awesome tool. I can see the value in this, just even on that customer retention, improving your customer service, but also, opening up potential sales opportunities. I definitely see the value in this. So you've sold me, Rory, today. I just now need a PSA to go along with this. So
Yeah. And yeah, for anybody else who's curious about it, happy to do a detailed demo with you. And we also have a 2-week free trial. So that's how everybody gets started. Even people that come on the demo are like, I love it, I want it today. I'm like, cool, I'm still going to set you up on the trial and put down your credit card whenever you're ready. We get you up and running and let you collect feedback. For us, the process is pretty easy. Once you've implemented and you start seeing real feedback from your customers, most of it will be good. A few of it might be negative or like not as positive. And then usually people are like, oh wow, I'm learning things I never thought. This is so easy. It just plugs in, kind of set
yeah,
it and let it run, and then it's easy to decide whether or not it's worth it for you.
excellent. Thanks for your time then, Rory. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.